Some cars were built to change the industry, innovative, stylish, packed with technology. But instead of revolutionizing the world, they were completely ignored. Maybe they were too advanced for their time, maybe the marketing failed, or maybe people just weren't ready. Whatever the case, these 10 cars were ahead of their time, but nobody cared. 1. GM EV1, 1996 to 1999. The first real electric car. Before Tesla took over the EV game, General Motors built the EV1, a fully electric car in the late 90s. It had a futuristic aerodynamic design, a range of up to 140 miles, and zero emissions, something unheard of back then. It could have been the start of the electric revolution, but GM had other plans. Instead of pushing the EV1 forward, GM killed it. They only leased the cars, never sold them, and when the program ended, they took back almost every single one and destroyed them. The reason? Oil companies and dealerships weren't ready for an EV takeover. GM claimed there wasn't enough demand, but many believe they deliberately killed the EV1 to protect their gas-powered profits. If the EV1 had survived, we might have seen the electric car industry boom decades earlier. Today, Tesla gets all the credit for EV innovation, but GM did it first and threw it away. 2. Tucker 48, 1948. A car too advanced for its own good. The Tucker 48, also known as the Tucker Torpedo, was one of the most advanced cars of its time, and maybe that's why it failed. Designed by Preston Tucker, this car had features that wouldn't become standard for decades, including the third central headlight that turned with the wheels, a roll cage for safety, disc brakes, and a rear-mounted engine. So why did it flop? Corporate sabotage. Big automakers and government regulators saw Tucker as a threat, and they hit him with lawsuits, SEC investigations, and bad press. His company collapsed before he could mass-produce the car. Today, the Tucker 48 is a legendary collector's item worth millions, but back then, nobody cared. The world just wasn't ready for a car so ahead of its time. 3. Citroën DS, 1955 to 1975. The UFO on wheels. When Citroën launched the DS in 1955, people thought it was from another planet. It had an aerodynamic body unlike anything else on the road, a high-drop pneumatic suspension that made it ride like a cloud, and power-assisted steering, brakes, and even headlights that turned with the wheels. So why did it fail in the US? It was too weird. Americans weren't ready for a car that looked like it was built by aliens. On top of that, Citroën's limited dealership network and high repair costs made it a tough sell. The DS was decades ahead of its time, influencing luxury car technology for years. But instead of being celebrated, it was ignored outside of Europe, a genius design that never got the global recognition it deserved. 4. Honda Insight, 1999 to 2006. The original hybrid nobody wanted. Everyone thinks of the Toyota Prius as the first hybrid, but guess what? Honda did it first. The Honda Insight, released in 1999, was the first mass-produced hybrid in the US. It had a futuristic design, a lightweight aluminum body, and got an insane 70 miles per gallon. But people didn't care. Why? It was too small, too weird-looking, and too early for the hybrid wave. The Prius, which came out shortly after, was more practical, had 4 doors, and quickly took over the hybrid market. Meanwhile, the Insight faded into obscurity. If Honda had marketed it better or waited a few years, it might have been a game changer. Instead, it became a forgotten footnote in hybrid history. 5. Chrysler Turbine Car, 1963. Jet power for the streets. Imagine driving a car with a jet engine. That's what Chrysler envisioned with the turbine car in the early 60s. It ran on a turbine engine that could burn almost any fuel, from gasoline to kerosene, and even tequila. It was smooth, efficient, and nearly maintenance-free. So why didn't it take off? Cost and complexity. Turbine engines were expensive to produce, and they weren't fuel efficient at low speeds. Chrysler only made 55 prototypes before the government pressured them to shut it down. Only a few turbine cars survive today, and they remain one of the biggest what-ifs in automotive history. Could Chrysler have changed the industry forever? Maybe, but the world wasn't ready for jet-powered cars. 6. Mazda RX-8, 2003 to 2012. Rotary dreams crushed by reality. The Mazda RX-8 was supposed to be the next evolution of the legendary RX-7. It had a high-revving rotary engine, sleek looks, and suicide doors for added style. It was an affordable sports car with a unique design, and yet people ignored it. The reason? Rotary engine problems. While fun to drive, the RX-8's Wankel engine burned oil like crazy, had reliability issues and suffered from poor fuel efficiency. Many engines failed before even hitting 50,000 miles. Mazda eventually gave up on the rotary dream, and the RX-8 faded into obscurity. Today, it has a small cult following, but back in its prime, nobody cared. 7. Pontiac Aztek, 2001 to 2005. The ugly SUV that was too smart. Before crossovers took over the roads, Pontiac built the Aztek, a weird-looking SUV with an insanely practical interior, built-in camping features, and a removable cooler. It was a car made for adventure, years before the overlanding trend exploded. So why did it flop? The design. The Aztek was universally mocked for being ugly, and Pontiac's struggling brand image didn't help. Even though it was ahead of its time, people couldn't get past how it looked. Ironically, the Aztek later became famous as Walter White's car in Breaking Bad. If it had launched today, it probably would have been a hit. But back in 2001, nobody cared. 8. BMW i3, 2013 to 2022. The premium EV that went nowhere. The BMW i3 was one of the first premium electric cars, with a lightweight carbon fiber body, a quirky futuristic design, and an optional range extender gas engine. It was a bold move from BMW, but it never really took off. Why? It was too expensive and too weird-looking for most buyers. People either wanted a full EV, like a Tesla, or a traditional gas-powered BMW. The i3 was stuck in an awkward middle ground, and its small battery range didn't help. BMW eventually pulled the plug on the i3, but if it had been released today with better range, it might have been a huge success. 9. Chevrolet Volt, 2011 to 2019. The hybrid that got no love. The Chevy Volt was an extended-range hybrid that could drive on pure electric power for about 50 miles before switching to gas. It was the perfect bridge between gas and electric vehicles, solving range anxiety before EV charging networks were widespread. But people didn't care. Why? Because it wasn't a Tesla. The Volt got lost in the growing EV market, and Chevy's marketing didn't help. Most buyers either wanted a full gas car or a pure EV, and the Volt was stuck in the middle. GM killed the Volt in 2019, but in hindsight, it was a car way ahead of its time. 10. Chrysler Airflow, 1934 to 1937, the first aerodynamic car that nobody wanted. In the 1930s, most cars were boxy and inefficient, but Chrysler had a bold idea, a streamlined aerodynamic car designed to cut through the air with minimal resistance. The Airflow was revolutionary, featuring a wind tunnel-tested design, a unibody structure, and improved weight distribution. But back then, people weren't ready for such a radical look. The Airflow's futuristic design scared off traditional buyers, and it was a sales disaster. Today, aerodynamics are a key part of car design, but Chrysler was just too far ahead of the curve. All these cars had brilliant ideas, groundbreaking technology, and bold designs, but the world wasn't ready for them. Some were too futuristic, too weird, or just poorly marketed. But one thing's for sure, if they had launched today, they might have changed the game. Which of these cars do you think deserve better? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more automotive deep dives. See you in the next one.